WRMN.com/WD and transform their time off into unforgettable adventures.
Overcast skies and 47 degrees as we start this noon hour today. Out to lunch with WREC. Winds are out of the east at 14 miles an hour. And temperature holding steady in the upper 40s for the rest of the afternoon, it looks like. So far, so dry. So far since the beginning of the day got underway. But there is still some rain in the forecast for this afternoon. About an 80% chance at some point we will see some, so we'll see if that occurs. It's 12:09 here at WRMN, and this is Out to Lunch on a Monday, April the 1st, a day where we will be out to lunch for the second hour of this show. Sonar's making his way to St. Charles, Heinz Brothers Greenhouse Garden Center, which is open now, and if you want to go join them and check out the place, it's at 2010 East Main Street in St. Charles. It's 2010 East Main Street, open from 10 until 5 today, so they're open right now. And the broadcast of Hour 2 will take place from Heinz Brothers in St. Charles. So go see Leah. She'll be on her way in a few minutes, and Sonar will be joining her for the broadcast. And probably Leah will have some guests representing Heinz Brothers on the air with her today. Heinz Brothers Greenhouse, the Fox Valley's most complete garden center. And they offer lots of things like fairy events. Find out what that's all about with Leah in the 1 o'clock hour. They have a nice garden shop and many services that they provide. They have delivery as well, and so a lot of different services and versatility offered over at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. And you'll hear a lot more about that in the second hour of the program today. Because it is dry so far, if you're a baseball fan, Cubs baseball starts in about an hour. I believe it's a 1:20 start time. I'll cover a little sports news this hour. Cubs against the Colorado Rockies. It's the season opener for the Chicago Cubs. After a tough weekend against the Texas Rangers, I'd say a competitive weekend. They couldn't nail down the victory in Game 1 despite leading going into the bottom of the ninth. Game 2 was not a good experience as Texas whipped the Cubs 11-2. But the Cubs came back yesterday to win the finale 9-5 down in Arlington. So now the Cubs come home to take on the Colorado Rockies, and I'll have more information on that coming up shortly if you're getting ready for Cubs baseball this afternoon. The forecast for the rest of the next couple of days is not looking that great. Overcast skies right now in 47, as I mentioned. And chance of showers and thunderstorms still in the forecast for this afternoon. And so far, like I said, it has not rained since I got here for the morning show today. But they're still calling for an 80% chance. So we'll see if we get any more rain this afternoon. If not this afternoon, probably tonight. Showers, possibly a thunderstorm tonight with a low of 38 and a 90% chance. And then the chances of rain start to shift over to snow a little bit, believe it or not, for tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow, rain before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then maybe a little rain-snow mix during afternoon drive. Tomorrow, the high temperature of 40 for your Tuesday. Snow possibly mixed with rain, becoming all snow tomorrow night with a low of 33, probably just annoying enough and scary enough to make the street crews have to come out tomorrow night into early Wednesday morning. So don't be surprised to see a snow plow or salt truck around. Maybe not a snow plow, but at least a salt truck. And I'm sure the Elgin Township and the public services in Elgin and the rest of Kane County will be out and on the roadways tomorrow night if need be. 33 for the overnight low tomorrow night with maybe some snowfall in the middle of the night. Maybe about a half an inch possible. We'll see. Wednesday snow is still likely. Mostly cloudy with a high of 36 degrees and a 70% chance of a little snow on Wednesday before it finally comes to an end. So pretty little wet pattern here for the next 48 to 72 hours. Things look much better late in the week. Thursday we're looking at partly sunny skies and a high of 45. Friday sunshine, a high of 49. Saturday we hit the mid-50s, a high of 55 degrees for Saturday. And for Sunday, we're up near 60 degrees with a mostly sunny sky. Right now, as I mentioned, it is 47 degrees and overcast here in the Fox River Valley as our show, Out to Lunch, gets underway today. Checking some news stories that I've been tracking since earlier this morning and over the last few days. In this show, I have already covered this story, I've covered earlier this morning. But it's pretty big news here in the city of Elgin regarding a police-involved shooting that we had here back 6 years ago in 2018. And while I was gone late last week, a federal court did finally rule on a dismissal of a lawsuit against the Elgin police officer who was shot and killed, who shot and killed 34-year-old motorist Cynthia Clemens back on the 12th of March, 2018. There had been an hour-long standoff along I-90 during which authorities said she ignited the SUV when she was driving, tried to catch her own car on fire. Clemens' family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the officer and the city of Elgin, claiming that police used excessive force. They failed to intervene, they were improperly trained, and engaged in willful and wanton conduct. The judge did not disagree. The death of Miss Clemens was tragic, and the court expresses its condolences to her estate and her family. But Judge Jeffrey Cummings said, nonetheless, based on the undisputed facts and the principles of law, the court concluded that Lieutenant Jensen, his conduct did not amount to a violation of Clemens's constitutional rights. The Elgin woman's death marked the city's first fatal police shooting in 19 years, and the shooting sparked community outcry and calls for Jensen's firing at that time. However, the Cook County State's Attorney and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office determined it was a justified shooting. Jensen was reinstated back in 2019. But he's had this lawsuit kind of hanging over his head for about 5 years now. About 10 minutes before 12 a.m., March 11, 2018, another Elgin police officer noticed Clemens sitting in her car near a closed bike trail. Kind of suspicious, and wanting to investigate why the car was there. The officer was inquisitive, and about 30 minutes later, the patrol officer returned and noticed the vehicle was still there. The officer approached and noticed a knife on the front passenger seat. According to the judge's opinion, the officer noted that Clemens exhibited dilated pupils and clenched teeth, both possible symptoms of mental health episodes and the influence of narcotic stimulants to the central nervous system. While the officer checked her background, Clemens drove away and took off onto I-90, where she collided with a guardrail, which caused 2 flat tires to her car. Then the Elgin officers arrived, along with Illinois State troopers. Authorities say that Clemens refused multiple requests to exit her car and appeared agitated, lighting a cigarette and then another cigarette before igniting the car. On police body camera footage, officers can be heard saying she had a knife and a history of mental illness and distress. One officer indicated she held a knife at her neck at one point. As heavy smoke poured from the car, officers moved towards the car after discussing their approach. Body camera video showed Clemens exiting the smoke-filled vehicle with a knife, at which point she was simultaneously shot 3 times and tased. In the complaint, the family claimed that Clemens stumbled out of the vehicle, crouched to get below the smoke, and was shot within 1 second of her first foot hitting the ground as she fled the vehicle, complying with Elgin police officers' demands as she was exiting the vehicle. But the Judge Cummings found the police camera footage contradicted Clemens' family's version of the event. And Jensen has now been cleared of this lawsuit, and the lawsuit has been dismissed. And maybe this long-standing case, in certain ways, is finally going to be put to rest once and for all. It's 12:18 here at WRMN. Let's see, I got time for one more story before our first break here. A reminder, Leah's on her way right now over to Heinz Brothers Greenhouse, and Sonar is too. And they'll be broadcasting live between 1 and 2 today, co-hosting the 1 o'clock hour. And speaking probably to management from Heinz Brothers Greenhouse about some of the different services they offer. And if you want to stop by and see them, again, the location for Heinz Brothers is 2010 East Main Street in St. Charles. That's 2010 East Main Street in St. Charles. 12:18 here on this Monday. It's hour 1 of Out to Lunch. Don't forget, Straight Money Talk comes your way at 2. And then Matt's got the radio shopping show for you from 3 to 6 today. Matt offers you all the deals, all the drive time deals with Matt McNeil from 3 to 6 today. Before that, in fact, he's here now. He's in the Redemption Center. If you want to order from the radio shopping show, that's the way to do so right now. Give them a call. Give Matt a call at 847-741-7700. That's 847-741-7700. Or call Matt after 3 on the air. And the number, of course, here in the studio is 847-931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. Between 3 and 6 this afternoon. You want to call this hour, make a comment, something you're out and about, you see something, or you want to talk about something, feel free to call during Out to Lunch today with me, Marky B, the host of the First Shift. First Shift back on the air tomorrow morning from 6 until 9. Tomorrow's show actually features Medicare Made A, B, C, D Easy. That'll be from 9 until 10, and then 2 hours of the Brian Kilmeade Show tomorrow from 10 until noon. It is 12:20 on a Monday, and you're listening to Out to Lunch here at WRMN AM 1410. We'll be back in just a moment with more.
Click this link now to review my bank transfer. I didn't make a bank transfer. Ugh, another phishing message. Are you frustrated by these too? So much of our lives are online today. To make sure my information is protected, I checked out CISA's Secure Our World resources. They've got 4 simple ways we can stay safe online. First, learn to recognize and report phishing. Next, create a strong, unique password for each online account, and use a password manager if you can. Then turn on multi-factor authentication for extra security, and you'll receive a code when logging in. And finally, turn on automatic software updates for convenience and safety. Click here to track my delivery. Another phishing message. But now I know how to protect myself from scammers, and you can learn too. Go to CISA at cisa.gov/Secure Our World for more quick, easy tips to be safer online.
For an absolutely amazing meal and attentive, smiling staff, try Red Ox Restaurant and Bar in Hampshire. They have a delicious Friday night fish fry. There's so many great dishes on the menu that'll keep you returning. Try their savory French onion soup. Then for your main course, choose from a wide variety of steaks and chops, fried chicken, shrimp, or juicy prime rib, done just the way you like it. Red Ox also has daily specials and a full bar for you and your friends. Visit redoxhampshire.com today.
When you need your banker, they should be ready to put you first. At Wintrust, you can have the banking experience you need and the one you deserve. Ready for a change? We've made it even easier. Our new sophisticated online platform makes opening accounts a breeze, but our bankers are always here for you. Open a new Total Access checking account in minutes at wintrust.com/fast. Plus, get $300.
$100 required to open. Requirements to qualify. Must use link to apply.
Member FDIC.
If you are 50 years and older, you are welcome to join Elgin State Bank's sponsored movie days at Elgin Marcus Theater. It will always be on the second Thursday of each month. Doors open at 8:30 a.m. At 9 a.m., you will hear a very brief message from Sherry Aschenbrenner about upcoming senior events, and movies will begin at approximately 9:30 a.m. Coffee and a donut is complimentary. You can always call the movie theater hotline number of 847-888-7976 to find out what movies are playing each month. The cost is $3 if you are a member of Elgin State Bank, meaning you have an account there, and $5 if you are a non-member. And for more senior information, catch Sherry's Senior Showcase on the third Tuesday of every month at 9:15 a.m. right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
Experts say regular auto maintenance is one of the most important things for your car. Meineke Car Care Center at 376 Sundown Road in South Elgin covers all your automotive needs. From oil changes, brake services, and emission testing, Meineke's expert staff provides hard work and dedication with the utmost professionalism. Need an oil change? Visit Meineke in South Elgin for their 23-point inspection. Call 847-888-9644.
Take your family out or meet up with a friend for breakfast, lunch, or dinner at the Elgin IHOP, located at 101 Randall Road by the theater. They're open for dining 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Stop in at 3 p.m. for happy hour with discounted meal deals for early birds starting at just $6. You can choose from breakfast choices like the pancake sundaes or juicy burgers or maybe a classic burrito bowl. Check out the menu at ihop.com today.
This is Marky B inviting you to feel the power of the first shift.
To God be the glory, my brother. Thank you so much. You are such an inspiration to many of folk that's here in Elgin. I'm in West Dundee. I'm a Dundeeite now, not an Elginite anymore, but I love you. I can even give a number of prayers that we as a people continue to grow and to be there for one another. Please, people, let's get on board. Check on your neighbors, check on your friends, and just give an inspiration that life is worth living.
It's the first shift weekday mornings from 6 until 10 right here on WRMN. We're back. It is 12:25 here on a Monday, April the 1st, live from downtown Elgin. Getting things cranked up once again. Hope everybody has had a good start to their week so far this morning. I'm Marky B from your WRMN morning first shift show. And I take you through hour one of this show today. Leah and Sonar are on their way out to Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles, where they will have the second hour of the show today between 1 and 2. 1227 was covering some news from the past few days, and let's continue with that now. By the way, good afternoon to Wendy of Wendy and the Bobs. She checks in on YouTube today. We are on YouTube at WRMN Radio on YouTube. If you want to say hey on YouTube this afternoon, or call the show at 847-931-1410. Well, fire on the buffet table at Austin's Saloon in Libertyville yesterday shocked everybody in the restaurant. Management staff evacuated hundreds of Easter brunch customers at Austin's Saloon in Libertyville after a fire broke out. Flames shot from a buffet table. This was on Sunday in the middle of the lunch buffet on Easter Sunday. 4 people suffered non-serious injuries. 1 was taken to a hospital. Restaurant managers blamed a faulty propane tank. Firefighters say the cause is still under investigation. Restaurant manager Drew Ryan said 500 to 600 guests were in the restaurant at about 1:15 in the afternoon, on a day where 1,200 people were expected. That's a heck of a crowd. Must be a pretty popular restaurant. They were enjoying a holiday buffet when the manager, Drew Ryan, said he heard pops and saw flames shooting into the air. Staff evacuated the customers, who left through 8 different doors, while management attacked the fire. Ryan said it took 3 extinguishers to douse the flames. Sprinklers were also activated, soaking members of the restaurant team. So they got a shower in the process of all that. But at least they didn't catch on fire. Late last week, we had a disturbance at the Woodfield Mall, apparently, including which involved a Roselle man. Roselle man charged with disorderly conduct after being arrested last Thursday morning for making verbal threats at the Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg. Alejandro Sanchez, age 29, was scheduled to attend a detention hearing last Friday after his charge was approved by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Schaumburg police thoroughly searched the inside and outside of the mall, but no indication of a threat was found, and no one was reported injured. Alejandro Sanchez was arrested without incident at 10:09 a.m. last Thursday. In political news, politics schmolitics. At the national level, of course, we've heard a lot about it with Brian Kilmeade, and we do every day as we follow the race to the presidency this year. And President Joe Biden caught a lot of flack from the folks at Fox and from a lot of people for not focusing on the officer who was fatally shot in New York City late last week by a man who had 21 prior offenses, and he was and his accomplice that was with him that had another 15 priors. Those guys should have never been out of jail in the first place. And meanwhile, Donald Trump, former president, did attend the officer's wake. Biden was not there. President Joe Biden is also facing criticism from Donald Trump's campaign and religious conservatives as he proclaimed March 31st, which corresponds with Easter Sunday this year, as Transgender Day of Visibility. The Democratic president issued the proclamation Friday, calling on all Americans to join us in lifting up the lives and voices of transgender people throughout our nation and to work towards eliminating violence and discrimination based on gender identity. But in 2024, the March 31st designation overlaps with Easter, one of Christianity's holiest celebrations. Trump's campaign accused Biden, a Roman Catholic, of being insensitive to religion, and fellow Republicans, as you can imagine, piled on. 12:31 here at WRMN. Out to Lunch today is underway. Don't forget the radio shopping show, as I mentioned, coming up at 3 o'clock this afternoon. There is a top 10 today on the radio shopping show. It's on our website, WRMN1410.com. But if you're looking for some food, a lot of the top 10 today is dominated by great food choices, like Stockholm's Brew Pub of Geneva, one of my favorites on the shop show. $15 certificates to Stockholm's, available for $7 on the radio shopping show today. Culver's of Elgin, $10 certificates available for $4. We have Sweet Basil Cafe, a restaurant in Algonquin, $10 certificates available for $3. Lars's of Elgin, $10 certificates are available for $4. Garibaldi's 2 locations, $17.99 certificate available for $7 on the radio shopping show today. The Best Bargain Bin of Fox Lake, $20 certificates available for $8. You want to do some thrifting at the Best Bargain Bin of Fox Lake. LaFleur Taco Grill of Elgin, $15 certificates are available for $5. The Adrenaline Monkey of Carpentersville, $70 pair of passes, available for $28 to the Adrenaline Monkey. Tommy's Red Hots, your choice of certificates, $10 certificates available for $4. And Ray's Family Restaurant, southeast side of Elgin, $10 certificates are available for $5. Call Matt now and order any of those top 10 or anything you'd like to ask about on the radio shopping show. He's in Redemption at 847-741-7700. And after 3 o'clock, he'll be available right here on the radio shopping show at 847-931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. 12:33, let's take a phone call here in the studio at 847-931-1410 on a Monday. Welcome to Out to Lunch.
Hi, Mark. Welcome back from your vacation.
Hey, thanks, Joel. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I hope you had a nice time.
Yeah, it was great. The weather was nice, and
I was looking at the weather in Panama City. It looked like it was pretty nice.
yeah, the whole time didn't really see any. I saw one day of rain. It was like last Tuesday, I think, when we first got there. But other than that, it was really nice the whole time.
You probably want to gauge your new format to see how many listeners you're getting. So this is an offer to the people who are listening now. They can stop by the Redemption Center to pick up their $100 vouchers.
$100 vouchers?
Yeah, the ones in the big box that you have there.
Ah, okay. So you say if they flow in right now, I'll know I'll have a lot of listeners.
April Fool.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely April Fool's. You been doing okay,
Anyway,
Joe?
I enjoy it. Hey, what's that?
I said, you been doing okay?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Wow.
I would like to see more of Steve Thorne. They chopped some of his show off, and that should be reinstated.
Okay.
And you could knock Brian Kilmeade back an hour. Put something else in there, something local between 9 and 10.
Okay. Well, I'll take your suggestions, and we'll see if we can work towards that. I mean, that is the eventual goal, is to be.
I'm only one man.
Well, we're going to try to be as local as much as possible.
You need as much input as possible to make the most refined decision.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, as I said, welcome back, and hi to all my friends out there in Radio Land.
Yeah, sounds great, Joel. Thanks for checking in.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Joel by the Riverside checking in today. 12:35 here at WRMN. Lots of first shift 411 that I've been catching up on. Different upcoming events I want to let you know about. We're going to focus on that during the next part of the show. And that will come your way in just a couple of moments. Phone lines are still open, of course, at 847-931-1410. And coming up next hour, we will check in live. Sonar is probably arriving by now, and he's setting up the stuff. And I am on YouTube right now, but through the magic of technology and the intelligence of Sonar, we're going to cover the second hour of the show on YouTube. Sonar, Leah, you'll be able to see them, and they'll be on the air today between 1 and 2 from Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles at 2010 East Main Street. Some First Shift 411 comes your way next in just a couple of moments right here at WRMN. Happy Monday. 47 degrees outside and overcast skies. Temperatures hanging in the upper 40s for the rest of the day, and then rain and snow even in the forecast for the next 48 hours or so. Keep it right here.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
Experts say regular auto maintenance is one of the most important things for your car. Meineke Car Care Center at 376 Sundown Road in South Elgin covers all your automotive needs. From oil changes, brake services, and emission testing, Meineke's expert staff provides hard work and dedication with the utmost professionalism. Need an oil change? Visit Meineke in South Elgin for their 23-point inspection. Call 847-888-9644.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. No matter the time of the day, WRMN 1410 AM is your platform to voice your views, share your stories, and connect with the Valley like never before. We're more than just radio. We're a community conversation that's always live, always local, and always looking for your input. Want to chime in on the drive time deal with Matt McNeil? Got a hot tip for First Shift with Marky B? Or maybe you've got a question for a one-on-one with Leah. Now's the time to make your voice heard by calling Studio 14 at 847-931-1410. 1410. That's 847-931-1410. You can join in the dialogue from wherever you are by commenting on our YouTube live streams at WRMN Radio. Hit the subscribe button to get notified when we go live and bring your comments to the table. It's easy, it's fun, and hey, it's what neighbors do. We talk, we listen, we engage. You're not just the audience, you're part of the show. Call in, comment, and let's make radio interactive. WRMN 1410 AM, where your words are part of our wavelength.
Take your family out or meet up with a friend for breakfast, lunch, or dinner at the Elgin IHOP, located at 101 Randall Road by the theater. They're open for dining 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Stop in at 3 p.m. for happy hour with discounted meal deals for early birds starting at just $6. You can choose from breakfast choices like the pancake sundaes or juicy burgers or maybe a classic burrito bowl. Check out the menu at ihop.com today.
This is Marky B inviting you to feel the power of the first shift.
To God be the glory, my brother. Thank you so much. You are such an inspiration to many of folk that's here in Elgin. I'm in West Dundee. I'm a Dundeeite now, not an Elginite anymore, but I love you. I can even give a number of prayers that we as a people continue to grow and to be there for one another. Please, people, let's get on board. Check on your neighbors, check on your friends, and just give an inspiration that life is worth living.
It's the first shift, weekday mornings from 6 until 10, right here on WRMN. 20 before 1, Monday afternoon. About 25 minutes away from broadcast time after the top of the hour news from St. Charles. Heinz Brothers Greenhouse with Leah and Sonar from 1 until 2 today. Radio shopping show on the air at 3. Call Matt at 847-931-1410 between 3 and 6 and order from the shop show. Call him now at 847-741-7700 and order from the shop show. Welcome back to this show. Let's take a phone call at 847-931-1410 in the studio on a Monday on April Fool's Day. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. You're doing Tradio?
Yeah, I can do Tradio during this part of the show. What you got for us today?
I have a boat for sale. It's a 18-foot Bayliner Capri. Has an 85-horse engine, and it's in like new condition, used very little, stored inside always, and I'm asking $3,500 for it. And my phone number is 847-464-5830.
Okay, 847-464-5830, and it's an 18-foot Bayliner that you're asking $3,500 for.
Yes, I have a machine, so leave a message if you call.
What part of town are you calling from?
I live 10 miles west of Elgin.
Okay. All right, we'll put it out there for you, and good luck with it. We're selling it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Bye-bye. Yeah, Tradio call is always available if you want to give me a call. 847-931-1410. It's First Shift 411. It's Tradio. It's kind of the same thing. Matt does a little bit of Tradio during his afternoon show as well between 3 and 6. So it's kind of a Tradio extravaganza here. But this is the standard time for Tradio, so we can continue to have it during this time frame as long as we don't have a guest on. And sometimes we do schedule guests. In fact, Thursday, I have Rick Lindy scheduled to be on the show. He's going to be performing Rick Lindy and the Wild Ones at a car show coming up at the Elgin History Museum again in the not-too-distant future. And we also have him scheduled to perform at America's First Responders Fest this year. And he's going to be performing at the Egyptian Theater in DeKalb. And, in fact, I think he sent me a little montage of his music, so maybe towards the tail end of this show today we'll finish with that. Egyptian Theater of DeKalb, and I think the performance there from Rick Lindy and the Wild Ones is coming up this Saturday night. They're a fun band. They play 50s and 60s jukebox kind of rock, and they do a very great job. And Rick's a nice guy. He's been on the show a couple of times before. And he is once again going to be talking about his performance on Saturday night over at the Egyptian Theater of DeKalb. That'll be a part of our Out to Lunch show. Rick's not going to be in the studio. We're just going to have him on the phone for a little bit. That'll be Thursday in the 12:30 segment on Out to Lunch. There are some other things planned for Out to Lunch this week, so stay tuned for more information on that as we move into the rest of the week. 847-931-1410. The previous caller said an 18-foot bayliner he has is for sale. It's in very good shape, and it's about 10 miles west of Elgin. That's where he keeps it, I guess, or where he lives. He's asking $3,500 for it, and the phone number is 847-464-5830. That's 847-464-5830. It's a good time of the year to buy a boat, right? Although it won't feel like it for the next couple of days. First Shift 411 brought to you by Columbia College of Missouri, Elgin campus, intent in their commitment to open doors and support those who strive for excellence. Too many people have been made to feel that their higher education is not a place for them, that it's someone else's dream. But Columbia College of Missouri has changed that perception. With individualized attention and ongoing support, Columbia College knows a future built by you is a future built for you. Columbia College of Missouri, Elgin campus. Your new starts now. Visit ccis.edu. A little information on yard waste collection in the city of Elgin. Some friendly reminders to let you know about. Collected April the 1st through the end of November on your regular garbage pickup day. That's when yard waste is collected. No stickers are required on bags in April, October, and November. So this is a good month to put out yard waste if you have some and you live in the city of Elgin. April, October, and November. It must be placed in brown paper bags, but you don't need stickers. So get those brown paper bags from Menards or your local place where you buy bags like that, Ace Hardware perhaps. And branches in the bundles must be less than 2 inches in diameter. So don't put big, long branches in your bags because they'll poke holes in the bags, and that's a pain in the butt. So they must be placed in brown paper bags and weigh less than 45 pounds. As I mentioned, stickers are not required for brush and tree trimmings, but they must be tied into bundles no longer than 5 feet long. Branches must be less than 1 to 2 inches in diameter, and the bundles must weigh 45 pounds or less. So there's some things to think about. Yard waste collection begins today, and it runs through December the 9th. And yard waste will be collected on your scheduled pickup day. If you have any questions, call 311 if you live in the city of Elgin. That's 311. Yard waste collection is getting underway. Well, that's not the only thing getting underway. Construction. I noticed this project about to start yesterday. The Illinois Department of Transportation is beginning a long construction project today, weather permitting, and I guess the weather probably has permitted so far today. It's on Illinois 31, which is State Street over Route 20 in Elgin. Here's a few traffic details for this State of Illinois project. It's not an Elgin, Illinois project. It's a State of Illinois project. 31 will be reduced from 2 to 1 lanes in both directions between Dana Drive and Oak Street. US 20 will be reduced to 1 lane in each direction between Grace Street and McLean Boulevard. Between Grace Street and McLean Boulevard. So this is going to be quite a project, and it's going to cause some traffic issues, I'm sure. Expect various lane shifts on Illinois 31 and on Route 20 approaching the bridge, along with various overnight lane closures on Route 20 at the bridge. Access to local residences and businesses will be maintained through construction, but you can expect delays and allow extra time for trips through this area. Alternative routes are encouraged. You might want to try to avoid 31 if you can. I'm sure that's going to cause more traffic on McLean, too, because it won't take long for people to realize they'd rather take McLean than Route 31. It's going to be an extensive project, I do believe, and be taking quite some time. Please pay close attention to flaggers and signs in the work zones. Obeyed posted speed limits should also obey posted speed limits and be on the alert for workers and equipment. So again, this is a $19 million project. It will consist of replacing the existing bridge with a new, wider structure. You'll be happy when it's finished, but you won't be happy until it's finished. So widening the existing interchange ramps as well. New LED lighting and modernized traffic signals will be constructed, and new sidewalks too, with ADA-compliant ramps and curbs. The project is anticipated to be completed in the summer of 2026. For the next 2 years, this is going to be going on. It's a state of Illinois project, though, and if you have any questions, you can call the Illinois Department of Transportation, not the City of Elgin. I guess maybe the City of Elgin can answer a couple of your questions because they know about it. But the number to call would be the Illinois Department of Transportation at 217-782-7820. That's 217-782-7820. So this is a project that's also starting today. Another sign that spring is here, right? 12:50 here at WRMN. Spring is here, and Cubs baseball is getting underway in about half an hour as the Chicago Cubs take on the Colorado Rockies. To my knowledge, there's no rain in the city of Chicago on the north side as of right now, and the game should take place as scheduled, or at least start on time this afternoon at 1:20. However, there is some rain in the forecast for the area for this afternoon. Rain and snow in the forecast for the area for the next couple of days. The weather much nicer this weekend, and maybe that'll start to make you think about car shows a little bit. Car shows. And the first one that I have on my First Shift 411 calendar is the American Legion Cruise Night. It comes your way on the 8th of May is when the first night will be. May 8th, June 12th, July 10th, August 14th, and September 11th from 5 until 8. Come out and enjoy a great evening of cars, food and music, hot dogs, brats, nachos, chips, drinks are for purchase. Motorcycles, cars, trucks, military vehicles are all welcome. You'll see my hippie van there. Adult beverages are also available at the Legion Bar, of course. They'll have 50-50 raffles and door prizes. It's our friends from the Elgin American Legion. Cruise nights begin on the 8th of May, weather permitting. And on that note, the American Legion right now has $1 hot dogs until 3 o'clock during the Cubs ball game today from 11 until 3. So if you're on the east side of Elgin, driving down Liberty Street, maybe you want to pop on in and take down a hot dog and a cold one and maybe grab you some raffle tickets for the Queen of Hearts. Because tonight the Queen of Hearts will have a jackpot of over $23,300. That's $23,358, I believe, is the amount. So stop on by the American Legion. 18 tickets, $10, and Cubs baseball and $1 hot dogs. The actual drawing for the Queen of Hearts will be tonight at 8 o'clock. And that'll be on What's Happening in Elgin if you want to actually see the Commander doing the drawing live, our friend the Commander, Mark Smith. Well, it's 12:53. We are moments away from moving into the second hour of Out to Lunch today. As Sonar is setting up right now, it looks like the setup is going to be successful, as I can see the inside of the Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles. You can't see it yet, but I can see it. They're adjusting the camera, and we will put it on the air for you next hour. So listen live watch it on YouTube. This is a situation where Out to Lunch is on location, which makes it actually better to watch the broadcast than to listen to the broadcast because you can see what they're talking about. And that'll be on YouTube at WRMN Radio on YouTube. They're setting up the final camera angle right now. They'll more than likely make it available to me in a moment. And then I can maybe even show you what it looks like for the last couple of minutes of our show today. All right, 12:54, I'm going to wrap up my portion of the hour in just a moment, and then we'll kick it to the top of the hour news and kick it off from Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles in the next hour, right here on WRMN. Keep it right here. Straight Money Talk this afternoon at 2. Redemption Center open now. Call 847-741-7700 to order from the Radio Shopping Show and our friend Matt.
Family owned for over 40 years with 3 locations around the Elgin area, Beef Villa is open and ready to serve you. Stop in or drive through and get your lunch or dinner hot and fast. Enjoy burgers, dogs, chicken, and of course beef is waiting for you at either Elgin locations or South Elgin location of Beef Villa. Stop in for the Friday fish special, Villa Burger, pulled pork, or the incredible salads available from Beef Villa. Need help feeding a large group? Catering is always easy with Beef Villa. Go to beefvilla.com for catering options. That's beefvilla.com.
Thirst-quenching craft beers await you on tap at the Spotted Fox Ale House in St. Charles with food and drink specials daily. Stop in on Tuesdays for half-off Black Angus burgers and $4 nitro drafts. Fridays feature the Spotted Fox Atlantic Cod Fish Fry. It's hand-dipped in Blue Moon batter, giving it a light, crispy coating, and served on a bed of fries. Grab your boots for country line dancing Saturdays. Watch all the games at the Spotted Fox. Spotted Fox is now hiring, so stop by and apply. Check out SpottedFoxAlehouse.com.
One of the things we're proud of at WRMN is our connection to the local community. In fact, recently we hosted a fundraiser for a longtime listener, Gene Wheeler, and first shift listener George Rollinson says it turned out perfectly.
Perfection is a moving target. You try to hit that bullseye and you zone in on it. It moves a little to the left, then it moves a little to the right. I don't know. I'd say we hit a bullseye. I don't know how that could have been any better.
Working together to make Elgin better. We are WRMN AM 1410, serving the local community since 1949.
Beef Villa's 3 locations offer more than their signature Italian beef. Try the Italian sausage, roasted chicken, and more. There's a huge variety of delicious side dishes. Beef Villa uses quality ingredients from homemade recipes and buys top quality food products from their vendors to bring you the absolute best tasting food. Beef Villa's great service and quality are waiting for you, but you won't be waiting long because it's always hot and fast. Visit beefvilla.com. All right, moments away from taking it out to the Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles for hour 2 of the show. Coming up on Thursday, as I mentioned at 12:30, Rick Lindy will be my guest, and we'll hear some stories about the music that they will be playing at the DeKalb's Egyptian Theater coming up, and at America's First Responders Fest, which is set up for September the 7th. I'm going to finish this hour by playing a little montage that Rick Lindy sent me last week, so you can get an idea of what his music sounds like. He'll also be performing at the Elgin History Museum during one of their car shows in the not-too-distant future. It's Rick Lindy and the Wild Ones. Hour 2 from the Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles with Leah and Sonar is coming up.
The Wild Ones Band Jukebox Legend Show is a rock and roll time machine, taking you back to the days when rock and roll was king and the king of rock and roll and his peers were topping the charts. Experience the dynamic vocals of Chicago's own Rick Lindy and his rockin' band, the Wild Ones.
Long distance information, give me Memphis, Tennessee.
As they perform hit
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
And I guess that's all you're going to get. So more coming up on Thursday, I guess, when we talk to Rick Lindy at 12:30 here on the show. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little montage. Hey, look, I'm going to click it on over to what you're going to see in just a few minutes from the Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles. If you're on YouTube right now, look at that. There's Leah, and there's some flowers on the table. And it's the Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in St. Charles at 2010 East Main Street. So keep it right here or go see them and see what they have to offer. Top of the hour news hits you right now, and then hour 2 of Out to Lunch on WRMN. Have a great day. I'll talk to you at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 1 o'clock.
Is it noon already? Take your lunch hour up a notch with Out to Lunch from 12 to 2 p.m. right here on WRMN 1410 AM. Unwind with the perfect blend of soothing sounds and lighthearted conversations that'll make every bite taste better. Whether you're in office or out on the town, let us serve up the best in radio company. Stream on the go with our app on Google and Apple. Because lunchtime is your time. Out to Lunch every day from 12 to 2 on WRMN 1410 AM, the talk of the town.
From morning coffee to your evening commute, WRMN 1410 AM is here for you. The faithful friend that brings you local news, timely topics, and the friendliest voices in the Valley. Stay informed, entertained, and engaged with our full lineup of shows, streaming all day, every day at WRMN1410.com or on the WRMN app. Wherever you are, we're right there with you. So why switch stations? Stick with the one that has it all. WRMN 1410 AM, your daily companion, your constant conversation.
For WRMN 1410 News, I'm Ben Boquist, highlighting a story from WhiskeyRiff.com. Kid Rock calls Ticketmaster a monopoly that needs to be broken up, saying it's, quote, highway robbery. The ticketing giant has come under a lot of fire over the last year or so after botched on sales for major tours like Taylor Swift, Tyler Childers, and Beyonce, with accusations that Ticketmaster and parent company Live Nation hold a monopoly on the entertainment industry that's unreasonably increasing prices for fans. The controversy over Ticketmaster's fees and business practices led to executives being dragged in front of Congress last year for a contentious hearing that may have been the only time in recent history that both Democrat and Republican were truly united. Kid Rock quoted as saying they made over $1 billion in secondary market last year. That means if you buy a ticket and go to a concert, you're their worst customer. They want that ticket to resell and keep getting that money on it. Kid Rock even admits that his position on the issue is at odds with conservatives and the Republican Party, where he generally favors the free market and deregulation over government intervention. But he says it's gotten to be such a problem that the government needs to step in. You can check out Kid Rock's entire conversation on the Theo Von podcast. Highlighting a story from CNBC.com, the Baltimore port crisis. The world's largest container ship company, MSC, dumps diverted cargo problems onto U.S. companies. MSC, the largest ocean carrier in the world, has notified clients it will terminate their container contracts once cargo is delivered to a diversion port, leaving shippers responsible for moving goods or potentially facing delay charges. MSC joins multiple ocean carriers to make the declaration to customers in recent days after the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse near the port of Baltimore. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg met with supply chain experts on Thursday to discuss the port closure and diverted trade. For WRMN 1410 News, I'm Ben Boquist, highlighting a story from the International Business Times. An autistic girl who is 11 has an IQ higher than Einstein and Stephen Hawking. She's studying for her master's degree so she can work for NASA. Adara Perez Sanchez, born and raised in Tulao, Mexico City, has been pursuing a master's degree at the age of 11. So that she can be an astronaut for NASA one day. Remarkably, Sanchez was able to graduate from elementary school as a 5-year-old, and then just 12 months later, the Mexican had completed both middle school and high school. Despite passing through the education system at a very quick pace, Sanchez encountered many difficulties during this period of her life, as the bullying and lack of empathy shown to her by her teachers caused her to move schools on 3 occasions. To help deal with her depression, Sanchez began seeing a therapist and was recommended to be sent to the Center for Attention to Talent, which specializes in educating the most talented students. This is where she found out about having a remarkably high IQ of 162, which was higher than Einstein and Hawking's score of 160. She's now studying for a master's degree in mathematics at the Technological University of Mexico and believes this can set her on the path to working for NASA in the future. In particular, she has aspirations of traveling to Mars and exploring the planet. Highlighting a story from APnews.com, a robotic dog is being thanked by state police in Massachusetts for helping avert a tragedy involving a person barricaded in a home. The robotic dog named Roscoe was part of the Massachusetts State Police bomb squad and deployed on March 6th in a Barnstable house after police were fired upon. The person, armed with a rifle, twice knocked over the robotic dog before shooting it. The person then shot at one of the other robots in an outdoor swimming pool before the police deployed tear gas and arrested them. The incident provided a stark example of benefits of mobile platforms capable of opening doors and ascending stairs in tactical missions involving armed suspects, state police said in a statement. For WRMN 14.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
And good afternoon, everyone. We are on Out to Lunch with WRMN. Today we are broadcasting from Heinz Brothers Greenhouse Garden Center. It's a mouthful, and I tell you what, those words do not even describe half of what you see when you walk in the building here. Right now I'm going to be introducing Linda. She's joining me, and you are one of the team leaders out here at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse, but you're also the person that is probably the one behind making a lot of those fairy gardens. Is that true?
I do make some fairy gardens in let's see, 12 years ago when we started this. I took on the responsibility and made all the fairy gardens for the fairy festival, and just about gave me a heart attack. So
like the one that's out in South Elgin, do you work with that fairy festival?
No,
or what's the fairy festival you're talking about? Just so I'd like to know.
Okay,
I
so
love fairies. So
every year, this is our 12th annual fairy festival.
Mm-hmm.
We make about 20. This year it's 18 fairy gardens, and we hide them throughout the store.
Oh.
And then I make up a scavenger hunt list sheet, and you can pick one up at the door when you come in, and then you follow the rhyming clues to get from one fairy garden to the other.
I love that. Like I said, that's what reminds me of like the elf on a shelf. It's people looking for it and something fun for kids to do. The fairy gardens, I've seen plenty of them. I know a lot of kids that are working on them, and I was talking with you a little bit before, and some of that was kind of your inspiration even to starting to do fairy gardens. Tell us a little bit about your background with why this is so fun and important to you.
Well, I have 4 kids, and I always try to encourage them to come out and dig in the garden and get your hands dirty and, help me.
And most kids, when I was growing up, we wanted to get our hands dirty. We wanted to run around barefoot and stomp in the puddles.
Yeah,
right?
Me too. I heard
how times have changed. Yeah. So, and then you thought, okay, well, that will kind of solicit them to get some activity going, right?
Yeah. So when I discovered fairy gardening, because I didn't know it was a thing.
I didn't either.
And I thought, oh, this is really cool. I am going to really pursue this. And we had a couple this is back in the day, we had a couple employee contests, and I won, I think, the first two. And Krista's like, okay, you're in charge.
You're in charge of the fairy
You're
gardens.
not in the competition anymore. So,
well, I think a lot of it is inspiration and theory. First of all, fairies, and I was just looking too. I saw one on the bridge over here. I can see one right over. There's a lot of them here. Do you mind if I grab that and just show it? So there's one right here that they have. This one I love. This is a neat little piece that stands up. Yep, it's a cast iron, so it's got some weight on it. Most of them are having to be made with material, because if you're going to do something as a fairy garden outside, because do people do them outside as well as inside? Yeah.
Yeah, you're not restricted to just doing cast iron for outside. Now, it's not something I would leave out in the winter.
Right.
Like I told you before, I have about 15 done at my house. This is just personal for me, in containers, and then I will set them out around my house and tuck them away in the garden, because I don't like too much stuff in the garden, but from a distance you don't see them,
right?
But then you walk up and then they're kind of hidden, so it's just like a fairy.
But see, that's what the fun part is. Yeah, you don't know when they're going to be peeking out around a corner. As I said, we're broadcasting live from Heinz Brothers Greenhouse, and that is located at 2010 East Main Street. You've probably driven by it tons of times. If you've ever been to St. Charles, you know where Heinz Brothers Greenhouse is. We're going to have a chance in a little bit to talk to Krista, too, just to get a little bit about the background and the link. But the reason we wanted Linda here today is because there's actual event that's going to be coming up this weekend for building or creating a fairy garden. Now, is your
fairy garden. We have a whole area that's going to be set up in the back. All you have to do is, if you want to call ahead for a spot, it's a $10 deposit.
Okay.
And then that will go towards whatever plants you buy, or fairy items that you buy.
So how elaborate you want to make it is up to you.
It's up to you. We will supply the soil for free.
Okay.
But any other little item that you want to put in there, it is kind of a la carte. So we have people that come every year. They bring what they've purchased in the past years, and then that kind of helps, because then you're adding to your collection.
And there's a story behind it, though. There's a story behind each piece. It's kind of like when I would go to the Ren Fair. Okay, when I went to a Renaissance fair, each year you would grab one more piece of whatever the outfit you want to wear, one more piece that you want to have to celebrate the Ren Fair when you visit. I would think the same thing would be this. And honestly, fairies remind me of the Ren Fair too. Any kind of fair like that. It reminds me of that.
For me, it's like a dollhouse. It's like dollhousing out in the garden.
Right.
You don't get every piece when you get your dollhouse. You might get a few pieces of furniture and accessories, but then it's a collection.
Right.
So you're welcome to start fresh. If you've never done it, you can come here and we'll help you pick out a container. We'll help you design it if you want. There's moss and rocks and all kinds of.
I think that's something I would all kind of picture into it. When you're doing it, then do you try and make it size appropriate? And by that I mean, if a fairy is usually somebody that's just kind of this little, you never know if they're a trickster, or you never know if they're a godmother, or anything. A pixie. Okay.
Pixies are
different.
tricksters,
Okay.
yes.
So anyway, so when you're looking at it, you're not looking at a big fairy. And so when you're making a fairy garden, do you appropriate, or are you going to put a big mushroom by it, or and the moss and decorating? That's where I have, and I think the majority of people, Linda, are like, you know what, I just don't know where to start. And so they get real hesitant. So these workshops are so cool for people like us.
Well, you want things to be to scale. And we have fairies that are this big that are appropriate for little tiny terrariums.
I was just going to say, I can picture that in a glass bowl.
In a glass bowl, really teeny to, a large one that's 18 inches over here. So it really depends on what your space, what allocations you want to do for space. So.
And I also like it too, this even against a backdrop of a brick backdrop or something like that, just from the visual standpoint of it.
We have all kinds of colorful things. We have more muted things. So it's, it's your personal taste.
Right.
And we have, it doesn't have to be a fairy. So a lot of people, we get a lot of kids who maybe are into fairies, but maybe want to do animals. So we've got little owls, little dinosaurs. We have little Bigfoot. If you want to,
there's a lot. It's interesting. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. I travel on the road quite a bit between here and Wisconsin, and every now and again you'll see a house with that big Bigfoot cut out by it.
Yeah.
And I had read one time that they had said that is somebody who believes in the phenomenon, so that's a safe place to stop if you're out hunting for Bigfoot. That was supposed to be the sign. But nonetheless,
I have nothing to say about
there
Bigfoot.
you go. So, but the reason I bring that up is because it's whatever story you decide to tell.
Yeah.
And there's no wrong answer. And like I said, when we start to think of like, I would have nowhere to begin, that's when workshops like the one you're going to be hosting this Saturday and Sunday are great, because even though I can still add the little detail to my taste, you can help me get started. Like you said, there's soil. Now, how extravagant you want this to be is up to you.
What you're doing is you're taking a little landscape and you're shrinking it down to whatever size container. So you can have, I've done little house over here and then a path over here, and then you have some blue stones over here to make a pond. I mean, it's using your imagination, but then shrinking down something that looks real, something that looks like you could mow the grass in it or something.
Well, see, and that's the most important, because if I'm going to go through the effort of putting one of these together, I want it to be legit. I want to see it. So what's the first thing that you would put together if you're going to be creating a fairy garden that you would instruct people? Do they go, like you said, you provide the soil, and we'll use this as an example for opening this up to people conversing about it for this weekend. So like for your workshop, you said you provide soil. What's the next step to it that people look for? Do they come in, see some things they want to like and buy, or how does that work?
I would say pick out a fairy item that you really want to incorporate, and then you can build around whatever that is.
Okay, explain to me what a fairy item. Like, give me a couple examples.
It could be a fairy house. Like I'm going to be doing a couple of the fairy gardens in the scavenger hunt.
Okay.
A lot of the employees are helping me, so they're doing a couple. Everybody's pitching in. But the one I'm going to do, I'm going to use a tall, looks like a fairy tower. So then all the fairies and accessories that I pick out have to match the scale of that. So you have to start with one thing, and
so is the point. It's kind of like when you're building a bouquet. You want to have a focal point, and everything else is supposed to direct the eye to that point. So if you have that house that you're doing, you want to have obviously color palette to be similar to the house, the scale that you're mentioning to the house. Do you pick the right fairy for it last, or I guess it just depends on how much you like the fairy, right?
If the kids see, or if you see a fairy and this is the one you want to have, then you match everything.
It's like a bridal gown, right? You know it when you try it on, that's the one you're going to have.
And that's the same thing I say when you're putting together a combination planter. Find a plant that you really like, and then build the planter around it. You want things that maybe it has like more than one color in it. I'd pick out lighter of the peach,
and then you'd grab another piece then to pull that out of the one plant. See, that I think is unique. I did horticulture or floriculture, excuse me, when I was in high school. That was a class we taught, or was taught, provided to us. But I'm always in awe of people who can just take a bunch of greens and plants and flowers and put something together and just have it beautiful. So like what height points stand, right? Is it important then for having flowers or anything like that incorporated to the fairy gardens? Or you're talking a little bit more like moss and structure, because again, size wise,
this time of year, the number of like flowering plants is not as extensive as it is during or late spring and early summer.
Certainly,
there's pansies, ranunculus, viola. There's daffodils, tulips, those kind of things. But those aren't going to necessarily last you all.
Right. And what you want to build, you want to have, because it's unique, and you want to have it playing out the season, right?
Yeah. I mostly use tropical plants, or you could do something with succulents, but then they all have to be succulents,
right?
Because they require different soil and different lighting. So
see, and I always picture something that a fairy would hop from one to one to one to one. So I want to see something like that in a display. I think it would be pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
It's the imagination, right, Linda?
Yep.
Okay, so we're at 2010 East Main Street. Again, we're at the Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. I'm speaking with Miss Linda today, and she is going to be hosting the fairy workshop, fairy garden workshop that you're going to be doing, correct? This weekend on the Saturday and Sunday of the month. Or this weekend, this weekend, April, right?
Yes, it's April 6 and 7. I will be the Queen Fairy.
Nice.
At the front.
So of the fairy gardens that are going to be hiding throughout here, is that happening for this weekend's event as well? Or is that something they can see just when they come into Heinz Brothers?
All of it is for the Fairy Festival. Once the Fairy Festival is gone, they'll have a couple up for sale, but we won't have the scavenger hunt.
I can imagine
it's a one weekend,
wonderful event, a festival. That's a great way to say it. So we're going to take a real quick break. Again, I want to remind you, we are at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. We're at 2010 East Main Street. We're playing this edition of Out to Lunch. We took it to the greenhouse because it's the perfect time of the year. And I was talking with Linda real quickly before we go to this break. She said, right now we're kind of getting all the prep. And then all of a sudden you're going to see everybody come walking through the door. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and learn a little bit of the history and even more about Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. This is Leah with WRMN, broadcasting live at 2010 East Main Street in St. Charles. We'll be back after these.
Columbia College of Missouri Elgin campus is intent in their commitment to open doors and support those who strive for excellence. Too many people have been made to feel that higher education isn't a place for them, that it is someone else's dream. But Columbia College of Missouri has changed all that. With individualized attention and ongoing support, Columbia College knows a future built by you is a future built for you. Columbia College of Missouri Elgin campus, your new starts now. Visit ccis.edu.
Dine out with family and friends at Nick's Pizza in Elgin or Crystal Lake. Nick serves up award-winning thin crust and Chicago-style pizza. Eat in or carry out. In addition to Nick's fabulous pizza, let Nick's cater your events with pizza, pasta, Italian beef, and other delicious offerings. Their big banquet rooms can accommodate all your event needs. So, for great pizza in a Northwoods, cabin-style atmosphere, bring family and friends to Nick's. Visit nickspizzapub.com.
As the Elgin Police Department continues to participate in the Distracted Driving campaign, they wanted to share some tips from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website regarding safe driving. If you are expecting a text or need to send one, pull over and park your car in a safe location. Once you are safely off the road and parked, it's safe to text. Designate your passenger as your designated texter. Allow them to access your phone to respond to calls or messages. Do not engage in social media scrolling or messaging while driving. Are you struggling not to text and drive? Activate your phone's Do Not Disturb feature or put your cell phone in the trunk, the glove box, or the back seat of your vehicle until you arrive at your destination. Remember, the Elgin Police are conducting directed patrols to enforce distracted driving violations. Just drive and stay safe. A message from our friends at the Elgin Police Department and your friends here at WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-234-0316. 800-234-0316. That's 800-234-0316.
WRMN has proudly served the Fox River Valley for over 70 years. We're located at 14 Douglas Avenue in downtown Elgin. Right next to Studio 14 is our store known as the Redemption Center. You are always invited to stop by and see us to live large for less. The Redemption Center is the place to pick up your on-air orders, shop for certificates, and grab some brochures to learn about what we have to offer. Our Redemption Center phone number is 847-741-7700.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
And welcome back, everybody. Today's Out to Lunch. We are out to the Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. It's a garden center located in St. Charles at 2010 East Main Street. And the one thing I wanted to add real quick before I announce our next guest is there are displays that are available for purchase for those Heinz Brothers, those fairy gardens that Linda was just talking about. They will have them available for purchase. I'd say, you know what, look at some of the designs, and I would like to reproduce that. Like I might like this from that garden, this from that garden. So most of the items you'll be able to get here in the store. So if I want to recreate the look, I can do that right in the store. The hours are on Saturday. On Saturday, it's from 9 until 5. And then on Sunday, it'll be from 10 until 4. And just to let you know, if you do dig any of those, you're like, I want this thing. I do that when I shop for clothes. I like this. Where do I find it? If you do that, then just letting you know that the garden displays will not be able to be taken out until Monday, because obviously you have spaces here available, or if somebody wants it to allow enough time to reproduce something. Is that accurate?
Correct.
There we go.
Yep. Or we might be able to find the additional pieces.
Yeah.
Have you take it home.
That's what Linda was saying. I mean, that's what I would do too. There's so many. I honestly did not realize this is so big. I've been and stopped in Heinz Brothers Greenhouse in the front just when it was seasonal and I needed to grab something. So I want to say thank you, Krista, for joining us, putting her on the spot, but she knows her stuff. You are the manager of Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. How long have you been with the company?
This will be my 23rd year.
Wow. So you are the go-to person to ask. Let me say, does everybody who has a question about plants, when you see them, do they say, hey, Krista, I need to ask you a question? Do you have to, are you the go-to?
Yeah. But there are a lot of knowledgeable people here, so we all help each other out.
So, okay, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the hours. So the hours of the greenhouse, when are you open and what hours?
We change monthly. So right now at the beginning of April, we just switched. So we'll be open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Okay.
Saturday, 9 to 5, and Sunday from 10 to 4. As we get into the later part of April through May, June, July, August through October, we then switch our weekday hours Monday through Friday, 9 to 6.
And do you know what the square footage is in here? It's huge.
We are, as a total for the whole business, we are 4 acres.
See,
so you get your steps in.
Yeah, and you you start walking back, and I got a little bit of the preview of what happens like when you get to wintertime. They've got the wall that comes down, so you've got the cooler temperature items, the trees, the wreaths, the garlands that you'd be able to do during the season. But right now, obviously, we are looking at seasonal, and everybody is starting to get their seedlings together. They're starting to plant. Right here in the store, I kind of break it off as departments. Is that how you would do it? So the front is seasonal. Then what else will they find in the front end when they first walk in?
In the front of the store, we have seasonal. We have lightweight urns and planters, garden tools, watering tools, garden accents and decor. We have wind chimes, birding, plant stands, and then our garden pharmacy, which is in the front half of the store. And then you go to the back half of the store and we have lightweight pottery, ceramic planters, which are inside and outside. And then you start to get into our plant material, which will be most of our sun annuals. We break apart our greenhouse into thrillers, fillers, and spillers.
Okay.
Which is how you would put together a container.
Okay.
You need your height, your mounding plants, and then your trailing plants.
See, I'm learning all the time. I love that part of it. Okay.
So we have a lot of our sun annuals are inside. We will have probably 1,000 hanging baskets hanging from the ceiling, and it is magical.
Aromatherapy is what I would say when you start seeing that.
Yeah, it is stunning. Like I roam around here all the time, and there's one time during the season where I will just walk into the greenhouse and stop in my tracks and be like, wow.
Especially those that have when they have the hanging parts that go over it. My mom, I think it was a bleeding heart, I think was one of those that had does that one that has the leaves come out and they've got this little petal drop on the end? Is that it? What's that called?
two types of bleeding hearts. There's a shade perennial.
Okay.
That'll be in the ground, and then that comes up, and then there's a bleeding heart vine that's a tropical that we'll carry too.
See, those to me are one of my favorite, probably just memory. My mom has passed away, but my mom was a fairy person.
Yep.
And so when I started looking at these items, I can see even we've got like a stone that goes in the garden at one of our places. And so we've got that set up that way. So it's just, and reminiscent.
Yep.
Do you find a lot of people plant because of that, like as the incentive when it comes to the gardens or the gourds, or as a gift ideas for people, or making them at home?
It just kind of depends. For the fairy gardens or containers?
Fairy gardens, let's go with that
Okay.
first, since we have that coming up this weekend.
Fairy gardens, that one, when people put those together, we find that it's usually family oriented. You have a lot of grandparents bring their grandkids in.
Certainly.
And so then it becomes almost a tradition. As they keep coming in, they'll get one extra item. And it's nice to see the connection in the family that we get to witness here.
Yeah. That makes my heart warm.
Yeah.
When you say that, especially with grandparents. I was talking with Linda and I said, when we were growing up, we couldn't wait to get outside and play in the dirt. And we just live in a different era right now. So if there's something that you can do from the kids to kind of get them away from the screen and kind of experiencing Mother Earth again, there's something about the feel of good soil between your hands, or watching something grow. I grew up in the country and I grew up on a farm. So that was the power of people who were farmers, is that their hard work, they got to reap the rewards, right, of their hard work. And so I'm wondering how many people do that here, if they start something from finished and come back and tell you how it went.
They do. And you're also seeing a lot more of that come out with vegetable gardening.
Oh,
is
yeah.
People are doing raised containers, raised beds in their front yards, side yards, backyards, and you see that done as a family.
See, and I can see even that.
Nice.
Absolutely. I can see too, fairies, when we were talking about them, I think it was a big trend. And I think that's one that's always going to be around. Obviously, everything kind of has this going on, right? But I know terrariums or something in the house that they can grow it and then just break it off their hole like that.
Yeah.
I think also another trend that's coming up is I think a lot of people are liking and enjoying fresh flowers in the house all the time. And so, planting them outside only for the hope of bringing them out and taking them in, cutting them up.
Yep, cut flower gardens. And then indoor houseplants has gotten really big. I think people are enjoying bringing the outside in.
I'm a little curious.
and
What
doing
would you
that.
see? What would you see would be a trend? Is there something that is popular? Like each year you see something that just sells out and you were like surprised that it was that popular?
Not necessarily plants. It's, or not specific types of plants. It's just people are enjoying bringing life into their home. And
you know what?
Everyone can do that. And the younger generation is actually a lot. We have kids that are in high school and college. That, I just saw someone 2 weeks ago and I was like, I haven't seen you for a while. I go, are you home for spring break? And she goes, yeah, I am. She goes, but I have to get a couple plants to take back with me. So
see, and even if it's not succulent, something that's easy to grow for a person, it's, I look at it and I always say that's oxygen.
Yes.
That's
is,
also good. And it's healthy to have those greens in a house. I've got a couple of plants hanging in my office too. I said, there's something that's, like you said, life.
Yep.
That's constantly, and you're watching it grow and it takes on a life of its own. So when people are coming, like you were just mentioning, I know you have some container workshops and stuff like that throughout the year. What's something that you should put as a garden wannabe? What's something that you would be focusing on, or that I should be focusing on at this time of the year right now, Krista?
This time of the year, if you're doing stuff indoor, you can do it at any time. But we usually will help people pick out indoor plants that kind of fit their needs.
Okay.
So whether it's watering, lighting, those are the two biggest things that will affect any house plant.
How unique that that's a question that you ask them, right? Because you want it to be successful.
Right. Yeah, that's our thing here, is that anything we try to that we recommend to a customer, we want to make sure that they'll have success with it.
And again, we're broadcasting right now from Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. It is the garden center located in St. Charles. And again, we're getting some Catherine say hi. So we've got some highs coming to us. So thank you. Again, you could be watching us, either listening to us by WRMN AM 1410, or you could also be listening to us if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, which we now have a YouTube channel, or if you're watching us on our Facebook page, or by chance, if you're listening using our app. So you can download those apps. You can listen anywhere in the world, which is great. The other thing I wanted to talk to you, Krista, about is some of the services that you offer here. You know, we were talking about the container planting. What about if somebody is just not having a clue and they just want to hire somebody? So do you have somebody that will do landscaping things that will come out and do it for somebody at their home?
We don't have a service that goes out, but we do recommend that if people want to bring measurements and pictures inside to the
that's
greenhouse,
good.
we are happy to help them pick kind of anything out here. And then we kind of fill a need for tree and shrub planting. And even perennial planting too, that's a smaller scale that sometimes landscapers won't offer. So if someone just wants a tree planted in their yard or a couple shrubs,
Very
that's
smart.
something that we can do. So it's all kind of a la carte. We have a form and pricing that's all filled out for that. So
I'm always jealous of, that's just the right way to put it, of people who are so wise about understanding what bulbs or what colors are going to come up at different times. You know, the ones that are smart enough realizing this comes up earlier in the year, and when that one starts to fade down, it just becomes a plant again, non-flowering. Then this one, you know, is coming up, and just having the color palette all match each other. Can you help me do that?
We can. And then we actually recommend that you try not to fill a whole space at one point. So it's come back to the garden center like every 2 weeks or so, and then you'll see something else to kind of add in. So that way you'll get early spring, early summer, and then almost late fall blooms too.
That's what I would like.
And then you extend that by adding in some spring blooming bulbs that you're seeing blooming all over town right now, but those you'll plant later on in the fall.
I saw you got some bulbs up front that are huge. What is the trick to bulbs? Is you do them in the fall? Like I was always taught you do them in the fall, then I looked up in fall and they said, no, this one is an early spring. Is there a rhyme or reason to that?
So you plant in the fall for early spring blooms,
Okay.
which I like because then you get all your work out of the way and then just enjoy it in the spring. If you have problems with rabbits, deer, or squirrels, there's certain ones that you'll plant over others.
Okay.
So daffodils, Scilla, grape hyacinth, and hyacinth are all deer resistant.
Now, I notice you have some artificials here that can be included if you want to do an inside container, right? Even these would be ones for outside if you want to have something decorated in your front doorstep.
Correct. Yeah, we actually mix a lot of artificial in with our spring planters because it helps give you a little extra color and some height, because pansies are one of our cool season plants, but they're a little short.
They are, right. So they don't get the acknowledgement that they have.
Yes.
What about, too, when we're talking about doing some fillers? Like I had planted last year, I started all from scratch, and I was reading the instructions, which God bless instructions on plants and greenhouses. I was reading them, and they said they needed to be put in a foot apart. So that to me told me that it's something that was going to spread.
Yeah.
Is that accurate, or that the growth is going to be fully?
It will get bigger. So always consider you're buying a puppy and it'll turn into a full-grown dog. So that's the full-size version of what you would need to do for spacing.
That's why I love being here right now, to be honest. Right, because you're thinking, well, because when you first planted, it looks like this lonely little thing that you planted, and then now, but by the end of the year, you could see it was growing higher than even the deck. So I could understand that part.
Yeah. So always look at the ultimate height of the plant of what it's going to get and width, and that's how you help figure out spacing in your yard. You go from center to center.
And then what about if you're talking about something else you should be watching for is actually what part of the house is it going to be featuring? Is it going to have something that's got some shade into it, or does it good in full sun? So those are also instructions that are usually available in some of your purchase plants.
Yes. Yeah. Usually what we ask people is to take a picture either of like the front of the house or the area that they're working on, take a measurement, keep an eye out after it rains to see if there's a buildup of water there or not.
That's good too.
Is it underneath the eaves? If it's the front of your house, it's nice to see a picture so we can kind of see where you might need height to offset whether it's a taller peak on the other side of your house.
Blank space.
Yep.
To fill that up. Well, as I said, we are broadcasting live right now. It is Out to Lunch with WRMN. Today's edition has brought us to St. Charles. We're speaking with manager Krista at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. It's a garden center in St. Charles located at 2010 East Main Street. Let's throw that phone number out there real quickly, Krista. If somebody wants to call and has some questions, what's that phone number?
It's 630-377-6288.
And if, of course, we're going to put this up, we'll pop it up online as well if somebody would like more information. The one thing I was saying, too, about the seasonals. Now, you were mentioning having the shot. You guys can really kind of be our mentors when it comes to that. We we got to figure out a way. We'll get a segment for Heinz Brothers because I think that would be so brilliant. I know I'm not the only one that has those questions.
Yep. We're here to help.
And so if somebody has a question, that's what I wanted to say, and especially for the seasonals. Now, I know you said there's seedlings up front. Seedlings, or what's the difference between seeds and seedlings? Seedlings that have already been planted?
Seedlings are already started, and then seeds you'll find in a package, and you have to make them into a seedling.
Got it. And so those are all details that will follow. And again, Chris, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll have more back to talk about Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. I want to mention a little bit, too, about some of the other workshops that you have coming up. So if you don't mind sticking around for a couple minutes, is that okay?
Yeah.
Talking about some of the other workshops coming up. Right now, most importantly, is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be the Fairy Garden Workshop, and you want to come out. Linda's got that going, and especially to come out with the family, and you can check out all of the scavenger hunts and find out the little ones that are scattered throughout the greenhouse.
Yeah,
right?
It is a very fun, magical event.
I can't wait. All right, we're going to take another quick commercial break. This is Leah broadcasting live right now from Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. We'll be back after these.
LaFleur Taco Grill at 910 Dundee Avenue at the corner of Slade has great fast casual Mexican food for the whole family. There's a huge selection of salads, quesadillas, a Taco Tuesday special, burritos, gorditas, and the Thursday Flautas dinner deal. LaFleur Taco Grill also has American favorites and breakfast. There's a kids menu too. Planning an event? LaFleur has catering with both Mexican and American foods. Call 847-214-1306 or LaFleur Taco Grill on Facebook.
As grocery prices rise, take your family out to any of the Tommy's Red Hots location for great food at unbelievably low prices. There's 6 locations to serve you for both dine-in or carry-out. Tommy's has a diverse, delicious menu for you and your family, with crispy pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and their famous hot dogs. Plus so much more. Don't forget their scrumptious sides like mac and cheese bites. To see their menu and locations, visit Tommy'sRedHots.com today.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
WRMN says thank you to all of our local veterans, like Jerry Christofferson of True Patriots Care.
We had the 1,700 flags up across from the wall. That's how many POWs and MIAs from Vietnam are still missing. Plus, we do veterans and first responders funerals.
Yeah.
And so if you ever drive by a funeral home or a church or a cemetery and you see the flags, you know a soldier died today.
Go to TruePatriotsCare.com for more information. And veterans, thank you for your service to our country.
Hey parents, even though it's chilly out, it's not too early to start thinking about summer activities for your kids. Adrenaline Monkeys Adventure Summer Camp in West Dundee is the perfect place to get your kids moving this summer. This week-long adventure camp features safe, fun activities like obstacle courses, climbing, and educational demos. Full and half-day offerings are available and are ideal for ages 5 through 12. The sledding and snowman building won't last forever, so enroll the kids now for summer 2024 at AdrenalineMonkeyFun.com. WRMN has been serving Elgin and the Fox Valley for 75 years, featuring a combination of local news, information, and entertainment in the mornings, followed by the radio shopping show for 5 hours each weekday. The first shift with Marky B starts your morning at 6 a.m., and it's always fun when Larry Jones is a part of the show.
Maybe we need to get a radio intern in to help.
Maybe so.
Somebody that you won't have to pay and you can treat them tough.
I can haze them.
Can't haze, you'll get fired. Remember that guy from Northwestern?
Yeah.
Gone.
Did he really do it?
You don't have to really do it. If somebody says you did,
yeah,
good enough. Maybe I'm going to accuse you of hazing me. I don't have to prove it.
And then there'll be a lot of people that come out of the and say that I also hazed
I
him.
remember when Mark hazed me. I've been hazed.
Mark hazed me back in 2012.
2012. I remember in Memphis one time. He was really mean to me.
It's first shift fun and information in the morning, combined with the radio shopping show to save you money. And you get it right here on WRMN AM 1410, WRMN 1410 Radio on Facebook, and WRMN1410.com.
And welcome back, everybody. This is Leah with WRMN. We are out at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse, 2010 East Main Street. Something I can't recommend enough for everybody to come in. I would assume, like, once you get into the spring season with a lot of those hanging plants, the aromatherapy, not only just the visual for the colors, but the smell of them has to be fantastic. I am with Krista, who is a manager out at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. We were mentioning that a little bit about the flowering plants. Now, I know you said you can see if you ever come into Heinz Brothers, I can see all the little hanging ones. So every one of those is going to end up having a hanging plant on it.
Yes, which equals to about 1,000. So
does it really?
It does, yeah.
And so how about watering with those? Is that little white cord? Is that a watering apparatus, or what's that for?
So we do a drip system. So a lot of our baskets, if it's 75 degrees or under, require watering every day.
Okay.
In a real sunny application or sunny situation. And then if it's above 90, twice a day. So.
And that's a rule of thumb that we should go by if we're going to be hanging these outside too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. What's the difference between having a hanging plant, or a lot of people will buy them when they're actually in the bag and then use that and hang it up on the wall? Is it just because they're lazy, or is there some of them that kind of have such a flowering effect to it that you can use something like that as a storage?
There's two different types. So there's the basket that would have the hangers that go straight up, and that'll hang either from a hook, a shepherd hook, or anywhere you have it, like from a pergola. And then there's the flower bags that you can either hang. A lot of people do them underneath their lights.
Yep.
Against their house, on their mailbox. I see a lot of that. Just to add a
mailbox is a good one. Yeah.
And it hooks right over that end piece. So.
And the nice thing about those too is because they flower so big, it doesn't really matter what container they're in. Anything that if you try and transplant it or put it in something else, it's lost. I mean, that's just wasted money. So it's nice to have that.
Buy
that
another
bag.
basket.
There you go. Exactly. Now you have that baskets and everything here. So we're talking a lot about flowers and about the workshops, but even from storage units. Now I know there's going to be a spring container workshop that's going to be coming around the bend as well. And you do one, I think, in the fall also too. Is that right?
We'll do a spring that's meant more for the cold tolerant annuals.
Right.
Those I think should be coming up soon. We do a summer one that's after Mother's Day. It's usually third, fourth week of May. And then we also do a fall and then a holiday planter.
I also noticed on your website, you just brought it up with Mother's Day. So I wanted to include that. Moms, if you like to plant, even if you don't, you have gift cards that you can give for Mother's Day, which would be a great idea.
Yes. Yeah. You can either call the store, stop in, or we also do gift cards that we'll mail on our website as well.
Got it. All right. So now we were mentioning a little bit too about this time of year, what you would be planting, and whether you've got something started on your own or you're going to be creating your garden. First of all, I always knew and grew up that you would kind of till the garden and get nice loose soil that would actually help things grow, right? Is that the first step that people should be doing?
Yes, you can. You don't always have to either.
Okay.
How I do my garden is I just get everything leveled out, and then we have a organic soil amendment called bumper crop, and I actually just lay that on top about 2 inches. And
2 inches thick?
2 inches
Okay.
thick. Yep. And so you want to start out your season for your vegetable gardens with an extra boost of nutrients in there.
And that's what this bumper.
Yep, that's what the bumper crop organic soil amendment does.
I'm like this, you guys. Right now, my notes here.
If you come in and see me, I'll just be like, ask for the red and white bag up at the register, and that's all you have to do. But that gives your vegetables an extra boost of nutrients right away. So we always recommend starting out with a compost in the beginning.
Okay.
And then there's a slow release fertilizer that you can do monthly after that, because you have to remember, if you plan on eating it, you need to feed your plants so that they can feed you.
That's a bumper sticker on a car right now there, Krista.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Full of them.
so we've got the bumper crop, and then you're going to be planting. Now, I also learned growing up, this is my great-grandfather, that not everything is meant to be planted right from the get-go. So any of the newbies out there, if you're trying to get a nice little setup, not everything is meant to go in right away. What is the earlier, let's say the first season of items that you should be planting?
Yep. So we have our cool season veggies, which would be broccoli, cauliflower. You could put Brussels sprouts in, a lot of your lettuce, kale, collard greens if you want to do those. And then we also have root crops that you can start from seed, which would be beets, radishes, carrots, parsnips, turnips. You're probably missing one in there. The other cool season veggies to start are peas.
Oh, yeah.
And those are all great. Kind of starting now. We just got some
Like
veggie
snap
starts
peas?
snap peas, snow peas, sugar snap peas, and there's another one in there.
Grabbing
too.
some of those out of the garden and making a stir fry is probably one of the best meals you can have once they start growing. The other thing is I was always able to recognize a carrot, from the leaves that came up. It looks like really fine, like a fern almost, so you could identify them. And onions is another one.
Yeah, onions are in early season too.
How about like just the feeling knowing that you created this garden and you're able to feed your family on that, not only from money saving opportunity, but from a nutrient and ingredient. We say this all the time at my house is that when you get something at a store, it's been traveling and it was shipped here and it's been sitting on the shelf. The difference between that and actually having something that you created and those nutrients, a homegrown item,
vegetable,
is fantastic. Now, first of all, I like the bumper crop. That one I'm going to be putting down right away. Now, then the second season, is it you do that because of the crops, or it's a shorter item to plant or shorter item for growth? Why do you separate the two seasons?
You separate it out by temperature.
Okay.
So all of the ones that I just listed would all be for cool weather. And then we have our warm season vegetables that will not do well right now. So you have to keep them inside and nurture.
Yeah.
Yes. So they would be usually the third week to the end of May is when you can actually plant those, but you still have to keep an eye out for cool temperatures at night and frost that would be coming. So
if you do get stuck in that trap, Krista, is there a tarp? What would you recommend if, because we always say tarp your roses or your plants. If you have something outside that's starting to take off, protect them from that frost. Do you do the same in the garden?
We do, yes. So you'll protect them. There's either frost blankets or sheets work well too. You just don't want to use plastic. Plastic will not allow
breathing. I was going to say that probably would hold the moisture in, and which would actually worsen the effect of what you're trying to do.
So you do want to, it's just a light covering to help protect those. You can still get damage if you plant your warm season crops too early. So our warm season crops will be any of our tomatoes, peppers, zucchini, corn, beans.
Let's talk a little bit about tomatoes. You brought that up, and tomatoes always seems to be everybody's kind of Achilles heel, right? Because it either works wonderfully and you have an abundance of them, or you're happy if you get one little cherry tomato that pops up. And then you can't remember if you planted it as a cherry tomato or if that's all the bigger it's going to get. That's usually what happens.
And there is a lot of variety when you get to tomatoes. So what we usually try to do with new gardeners is suggest that they grow maybe 1 or 2 cherry tomatoes, because you will get a lot. So the smaller the fruit means you get a lot of fruit on those.
Got it.
The larger the fruit that you're trying to get on your tomato plant, if it's a Brandywine or like Cherokee Purple or a Big Boy, the bigger the tomato, the less that you will get on there, because you have to think of it's growing all of these massive tomatoes.
All of its energy is going into that big. So I can tell you in the summertime, having little baby tomatoes and blistering them on the grill is probably one of the great flavor enhancers that you will ever use when it comes to cooking, or even just doing it over a stovetop. It adds just so much extra punch and juiciness to it. When is this proper time? You said that would be a summer plant. So that's something we would look at in May, at the end of May?
It's usually the third week of May to probably the end of May. Now we'll have people come in, and we usually have them in here at the end of April, but we will go through all the measures to make sure that we're protecting them and keeping them warm, covering them for people. But you also want to make sure that as you put them in the ground that you're checking your nighttime temperatures.
Got it. And again, if you have any questions on that, the number to call, 630-377-6288. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So you can call up and always ask questions, not only when it comes to the planting and the seasons too. I did want to really quickly mention, you've also got like a doctor on call. I want to say that's silly, but you've got a pharmacy, right? So you have something that's in the back that if somebody is, you know what, I give up, I just can't do it, you recommend they come on in and ask. Then I'm going to guess you're going to say, where are you planting it?
Yes.
How are you caring for it? And then how do you know then if it's something that is, maybe that is a bug that's the result of it, or maybe it's too much water, maybe the soil, changes up? Because I know sometimes if I'm planting from a pot to a new one, I always try to get a good soil, like a Miracle Grow, whether that's the good soil or not. To me, it looks like it with all the nutrients in it. But there always seems like I almost try to keep a little of the older just to have it help it become acclimated. Is that the right way to go, or is that the bad way
so
to do
you
it?
always kind of keep it within that same soil, and then
Yeah.
you're doing less transplant shock, and then going into a new soil.
Transplant shock. That's what I do. Yeah. And so anybody who wants to do that, especially if you have a smaller one, what about of people who maybe grow them? Somebody taught me this, and I think it was a person who did plants. They taught me if you have extra vines, like we've got ivies and stuff like that, that I break it down and I start it in water.
Yep, you can try that. You always want to make sure you keep your water
Clean. Yep.
And keep changing it out, and have a really nice fresh cut.
And I think too on those, the nice thing about it is that when you rinse them, it's just like giving them a bath. You know, you get that dirty water out of there, and I'll even rinse the roots that have started to grow, just to be clean. Now you said cut it, so am I cutting the plant back or the roots back so they'll start breathing again?
The plant back a little bit, and then where you cut it, it'll actually branch out a little bit more.
It's always hard for me to get that concept, you know, the fact like you're damaging and cutting into it, but it's for the greater good.
So if you think of it like a haircut,
there you go.
You're fine. So you just have to give your plants a little bit of a haircut.
That's a great way to put it. And then obviously some of the bigger plants too, I've got, there are ingredients or vitamins. I think I've got one that I use on a fig tree. You know, I think it's a fig tree, African fig or something like that.
Probably a fiddle leaf fig.
That's it.
That's
the
popular one.
And that's the one that gives these great big leaves that you almost have to dust.
Yes.
You know, yeah, they look like a fake tree. But it's nice to have those growing in there. And so that one I put some nutrients or vitamins, I guess they technically call it. So
yeah, so we have a lot of different fertilizers that are kind of specific to certain plants, and ones that are kind of a general all-purpose.
You had leaned in a little bit before when we were talking, and if you don't mind me asking this real quickly, because I want to leave everybody having some new knowledge today. That's what you can find at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. If you'd like to try it yourself, even if you haven't, I'd like to say everybody here has been open and welcoming enough that if I would be a newbie to the whole scene, nobody's going to, you know, make me feel stupid for not knowing what goes with what or what plants to get or when to go. That's what I love about talking with you guys.
We are here to help. So whether it's indoor plants, containers, outside plants, if you're having an issue with a plant at home, take a picture, come on in.
Is that what you'd recommend? Take a picture and just bring it in so you guys can actually get a visual of what it is.
Yeah, that helps a lot. And then we'll ask you a couple of questions and try to figure out what might be going wrong with what might be happening with it. If anything needs to change.
I probably will be back next week.
Okay. And I get a lot of people that email us. They'll message us on Facebook, Instagram.
And is that okay to do that too?
That is also fine.
You know, isn't it funny? We live in such a fast-paced world, whatever makes it easiest, but it's nice that you are receiving that. So what if somebody would email it? What's the email address if they'd like to do that?
Our email is info@Heinz Brothers, which is info at HeinzBrothers.com.
And you guys are open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, Saturday 9 to 5?
Yep.
And then Sunday 10 to 4.
Sunday 10 to 4, yeah.
So no matter what, you have no excuse about not getting your plants ready and prepped. 'Tis the season. And again, Chris, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and having us out here at Heinz Brothers Greenhouse. We've been going here. Well, actually, this is, I think, our third or fourth out to lunch. So if you've got an event that you'd like to have us out for, feel free to give the office a call. That's 847-741-7700. And I want to say a real quick thank you, too, for Linda. You've got that wonderful fairy garden, the workshop that's going to be coming this weekend. And again, you can call the office here. You can call the garden center to sign up to reserve a place. I would imagine any of the workshops, it's wise to put a reservation down so you know how many people are going to be there for it.
Yep.
Got it. And the other thing I want you to remember is if you are going to be doing some of those workshops, my friends, consider bring a little extra money if you want. You can build them up and grow them, because I know like even one of them with the pots, you can get a 10-inch pot, a 12-inch pot if you want to do bigger. It just depends what you're looking for it to be, right? If it's going to be outside, inside. So the other thing I wanted to say real quickly as well, when it comes to Heinz Brothers Greenhouse, is that you can come right up. We're at 2010 East Main Street, so it's very easy to find. You can come on in. When you first walk in, you're going to see a lot of the seeds and things that you might want to get at the front of the season. You have got I'm in here on the silks, so I'm looking at the arrangements that you have on this side. Sometimes to put a little extra color in your house can change the dynamic. And even if you want to make them, if you don't want to make real, a lot of people have allergies too when it comes to that. It's nice to know that we've got such real looking, that make it. I've already looked at plants and had to kind of go like this. when you touch it,
Yes.
because you can't tell. And a lot of thing goes with greens. If somebody has any other questions, again, feel free to come on out. It's Heinz Brothers Greenhouse, again, 2010 East Main Street. Their hours are Monday through Friday. Well, I actually say Monday through Saturday,
Yep.
9 until 5, and then on Sunday, 10 until 4. This weekend, again, is going to be the Fairy Garden. And if you want to come check that out, that is the workshop to make your own fairy garden. I'd say take the kids too. Like we were mentioning, get them out of the house.
Yeah, and it's actually good. You don't even have to do the make and take. The scavenger hunt is
alone a reason to come on in.
The reason to come.
And you'll get a little
that one
sheet of paper, right?
You get a sheet of paper. I think there's 18 gardens that are throughout the store, and then that enters you into a chance to win the Fairy Garden Grand Prize.
And what a great way to introduce yourself to gardening. Not only that with the little ones, but also to check out the products that they have available. 847-931-1410. If you need to give us a call, we're going to be heading off to our afternoon programming. This has been Out to Lunch. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And again, if you are a business and you would like us to come out and do an Out to Lunch version with you, you can certainly give our office line a call. That number is 847-741-7700. This is Leah again, sending a great thank you to Miss Linda for joining us. She'll be doing the workshop this weekend, and Miss Manager Krista. Thanks so much,
In the
Krista.
middle of the night, everything
all right,
will
have
be
a great
all
day,
right.
everybody.
If you
We'll be
listen to
back
Coast
with
to
more on
Coast, right here on
WRMN.
WRMN, 7 days a week from midnight to 5 a.m. Each night on Coast to Coast, listeners are captivated by George Newry with discussions on news and current events, conspiracy theories, UFOs, life after death, and all things curious and unexplained. Whether you're working third shift or you're just a night owl, catch the most listened to overnight talk radio program in North America, Coast to Coast, every night, midnight to 5 a.m. right here on WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
The word is out. Nissans cost less on Route 19, but that's not all. Parts, service, and body shop, they all cost less at McGrath Nissan. Used cars too. The reason why is how hard we try. Right now, get 0% APR financing on select new Nissan models at McGrath Nissan because
Nissans cost less on Route 19.
Come to Elgin.
See what we mean.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 2 o'clock.
Everyone has a community to lean on. A neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship,